Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with another one, and what I'm looking at is a beer from Treehouse Brewing Company out of Charlton, Massachusetts. They have a location in Tewksbury now, which is only about a 20-minute drive from me, and I pick up beers there often. Amazing brewery, amazing experience, amazing pizza. I highly recommend it if you're ever in the area. But any of their locations are really nice, but the Tewksbury location is something to behold, for sure. So, enough about that. This is the beer. It's the American IPA featuring Maine Malt House. So, out of Mapleton, Maine. So I bought a 4-pack with 4 different IPAs. And each one features a different malt backbone. This one uses the Maine Malt House out of Mapleton, Maine. And read a little bit about it. It says American IPA Maine Malt House is one in a series of pale, hoppy beers that feature malted barley exclusively from local boutique maltsters across America. Each batch contains the same combination of hand-selected American-grown hops, enabling differences in the malt to shine. This particular iteration of our new American IPA utilizes malt exclusively from Maine Malt House, a family-run extension of the 2,500-acre Buck Farms in Mapleton, Maine. The Malt House translates decades of farming experience into serving craft brewers. Like hops, malted barley conveys significant terroir unique to each region and processing philosophy. We hope you enjoy the journey of this series as much as we do. This is a 6.5% alcohol IPA. And from what I understand, this is going to be a lot different than the big, juicy New England style IPAs that they brew, more focused on the malt with this. And it said pale, I believe. I read that off on the label, so it'll be interesting to see what the appearance is like. And sorry if I struggled a little bit reading that. I promise you, I do have a college education and can read quite well, but if you notice, the writing on these labels is very, very small and difficult to read. They use light lettering, and then the backgrounds typically aren't dark enough to really make a big contrast to make it easy for you to read. So Maine Malt House, this is not too far from me where they get the malt for this particular beer. And it says keep cold, drink fresh. July 19th, 2024 was when this beer was canned. So 11 days ago, because today is the 30th. So, super fresh. Let's get into it. Okay, I was expecting it to be a little bit more pale or a little lighter, but it still has that kind of juicy IPA treehouse look to it. It is not quite as saturated, I guess, as thick, but it's still very hazy. You can't really see through it. You can see a little light through it, but it's mostly opaque, but not as opaque and murky as some of the other Treehouse, or I should say most of the Treehouse IPAs. But still a nice looking hazy beer in the glass, 1.5 fingers worth of a white creamy head. Can't see any bubbles or anything like that going up the glass, but it's a nice looking beer in the glass. 6.5%. This is just a standard IPA, not a double. And it smells very juicy. Smells slightly resinous, kind of like orange pith, the pith from an orange. Slightly bready. Mostly tangerine, that little bit of pith, slight bread notes. That's really all I'm getting with this. It smells very delightful, but it's pretty straight to the point. Um, Nothing crazy going on in the aroma, and no other fruit aromas that I can detect other than the pithy tangerine notes. All right, it smells good though. Smells like a winner. So without further ado, let's get into this brew. Cheers. Oh wow, that is interesting. So this is not super juicy, your typical type New England style IPA that is very familiar to Treehouse drinkers. Um, there's a little bit of that tangerine citrus. It's more pithy. There's an earthiness to it, kind of in the middle of the sip. It's slightly more bready than your juicy IPAs. And it's moderately bitter. The bitterness is interesting because it kind of hits you in the middle of the sip, and then after you swallow it down, it kind of dries out the palate and then drops off very smoothly. This is really an interesting and unique beer from Treehouse. I think the focus on the malt backbone with this, using that Maine house or Maine malt house out of Mapleton, Maine, I think it's giving it a very interesting and unique character. Nice glass lacing there, good head retention. Mm. It's really enjoyable. I'm having a hard time describing what I'm tasting, other than the pithy orange type notes, the slightly resinous bitter qualities, but they drop off smoothly on the back end. Definitely very bready in the middle of the sip. This one's a little bit less sweet than your typical Treehouse IPA. A little bit more bitter. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's hazy, but it's more bitter, slightly pithy and resinous. It's not as sweet as your New England juice bombs. There's no real tropical fruit notes that I'm detecting with this one. It's a little bit more malty, a little bit more bready in the middle of the sip with this, kind of to the finish, and then the hops kind of dry out the palate a little bit, slightly earthy on the finish with the hop profile. Really an enjoyable beer. Low, medium carbonation. Pretty light body at 6.5%. I'm enjoying this. I'm really liking this. It's different. I love these little projects that Treehouse does, and they collaborate with these different companies, and this is really nice. I'm going to go with a 94 out of 100. I think it's a pretty solid A. It's uniquely different. It's unique. It's a lot different than your standard Treehouse IPA, and the focus on the different malts in this series of beers is really nice. I think they did a good job with this. So for the Treehouse American IPA Maine Malt, featuring Maine Malt House out of Mapleton, Maine, 94 out of 100. Buy it, try it, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I've gone on long enough. Gosh, over 9 minutes now. I apologize for that. That'll do it for this beer review, guys. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and definitely go check out Treehouse if you get the chance, because it's well worth it. The beer, the pizza, the overall experience, 10 out of 10. All right. That'll do it for this beer review, guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.